This is our number 4 online training course. Today, I will introduce the X series processor. And if you want to learn about the previous training course, please follow us in YouTube. You could find all the recorded videos in YouTube, and we will also upload today's video shortly. You can find us by searching Color Light Technology on YouTube. Okay, let me introduce myself. This is Entity from Color Light, and it is my pleasure here today to give the presentation. If there is anything that I could help, please email to me to entity@lednets.com or send me messages directly. So today, what we're going to talk about is the X series video processor specifications and their key features. Then I will perform a live demo with iSet software. At the end of this course, we will review some of the questions get asked in the Q&A session. Today's course is not advanced. It is just an overview of X series products. So take it easy, and now let's begin. The first question is, what is X series processor? It is integrated with sending card and video processor. And on X16, it is also integrated with splicer. It is no longer a simple sending card anymore. It is now all-in-one processor. Let's have a quick look on those typical models from X series family: X2S, X4S, X4E, and X16. They are designed for small LED screen, 2K LED screen, and 4K LED screen. The only difference between X2S and X4S is the quantity of output ports. As you will see it from here, X2S got 2 output ports, and on X4S got 4 output ports. And you can also get the information from the name. X2S got 2 and X4S got 4 output ports. On X4E, it got 4 output ports too. Well, you got more options on the video signal input. Okay, let's look into the details. This is X4S, and from the front side, we could see the LCD front panel with a knob. This is to change settings easily without a PC. And here we got the input switch buttons. And the others are the function buttons. For example, this is to change the brightness. This is to let the LED screen go black directly. And this one is to change from the pixel to pixel to the whole screen display. And on the right side, this is the power switcher. Turn off and turn on the power. Okay, let's now look at the back side on the X4S. There are USB in and USB out. The USB in is to connect the USB cable to the computer for configurations, and the USB out is to cascade to the next X4S. Here we got 1 HDMI input and 2 DVI inputs. As you can see here, there are 4 output ports. So the only difference between X2S and X4S is the quantities of the output ports. Okay, let's look into the X4E. The front side, the same. LCD panel with a knob to change the settings easily. And here are the functions button. Use the brightness to change the brightness settings, and the black, and the freeze. The freeze is to freeze the picture on the LED screen. So once you press this button, the picture, the image on the LED screen won't change unless you unlock it. And this lock button, this is to lock this X4E. Sometimes when we don't want to let any other people touch our device, we will use this lock to lock the X4E. And about the mode, and there are numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I will explain this to you later with a live demo. Okay, here this is a power switcher. And on the back side X4E, we see the USB out, USB in, the same function as X4S, and 4 output ports. And we added the audio input on the X4E. These two are the Genlock and the Genlock loop. On X4E, we also provide 2 units 3G SDI and 1 DP and 1 HDMI and 1 DVI input. One thing to mention about is that we also provide the HDMI loop and the DVI loop on the X4E. By this way, it can be connected to the monitor to view what is displayed on the LED screen, or to cascade into the second X4E. By this way, it saves you 1 unit of HDMI or DVI splitter from the front end. Okay, let's see some difference between the X series processors. This chart points out the difference between X series processors. The first one is the PIP, the picture-in-picture function. On X2S and X4S, it can only support 1 picture at one time. So actually, and on X4E, it can support 3 windows in pipe. That means you can put 3 different input into the LED screen at the same time. And on X16, it can reach to 7 windows in pipe. Another thing to mention about is that X4E, X4S, X2S can reach to 4096 pixels in horizontal direction and can reach to 2560 pixels in vertical direction. Here I leave one question for you. How many pixels you think can the X16 reach to on horizontal and on vertical direction? Yes, it can reach to 8000 pixels on both horizontal direction and vertical direction. And the total loading capacity of X16 is 8.8 million pixels. The X16 is a true 4K controller. Let's look at the details of X16. Here we provide a bigger LCD front panel with a knob, and from front side, the video input source switcher. And we could use the preset mode to change different settings for the PIP. Here, function selection, like to change the brightness, let the screen go black, or simply freeze the image of the LED screen. And on the back side, we provide the LAN port and the serial port RJ11 for the secondary development. If any of you needs a document for the secondary development, please email to us and we will provide the document to you. The USB in and USB out. Here, the same function as the other X series product. And there are two SDI input. Here are the Genlock input and Genlock loop. Here are the inputs. Here we provide the HDMI 2.0 input and DP 1.2 on this board. At the same time, we provide the HDMI loop. Another option is to use 4x-DY input to make a 4K input. And this 4x-DY input board can be replaced to 4x-SDI input. So we provide different 4K input for different requirements. We would say that the X16 is the most competitive 4K processor. Why would we say that? Let's look into the difference. The traditional 4K solution is to add one video processor and 4 units sending card or more sending cards, and then combine them together to be loading a 4K LED screen. By this way, you need to add much more devices, pay higher price, and the result you get is only the lower compatibility. Let's see what we can do with X16. One device to make the 4K LED screen. We provide the HDMI 2.0 and the DP 1.2 or 4x-DY input. So with X16, you don't need to buy any more devices than one unit X16. It makes things easier and make the troubleshoot much more easier than before. Besides the one unit X16, we also provide some advanced picture processing function. The first one is the scaling. You can change the scaling position very easily with the iSet software. I will give this demo to you. And the cropping. Sometimes the input signal gives the whole picture into the LED screen, but the customer wants to show only part of it. By this way, we could use the cropping. So you can crop the original picture into part of it and then display it into the LED screen. This function will also give a demo. And the third one, the picture-in-picture. On the X16, it can support 7 windows in pipe because we could provide the 2x-SDI and 4x-DVI and 1 unit HDMI 2.0. Here you could see we place different pictures on different places of the LED screen because our X16 can support the free placement. That means Each window can be freely resized and placed on any position of the LED wall. Okay. This slide shows a loop redundancy example. Sometimes it is not necessary to use all the output ports on the X16, so we could use spare parts output ports on the device as a backup. Just simply run a RJ45 cable from these spare ports to the LED screen, and then click on the iSet software to make the backup settings. I will show you this too on the following demo. And for some important events, we could also set another unit X16 to backup for the main X16. That means our controller can do both loop backup. This is what we call loop backup, or the dual controller backup. That is to use one unit X16 to be the backup for another main X16. Okay, our X16 also support the optical fiber, and we got the H16F fiber converter. Sometimes when the customer wants to transfer the signal into a longer distance, then he could use the H16F fiber converter. For our standard X16 for our X16 processor, the H16F is the best option. The standard one can support 1 kilometers, and we also provide the 20 kilometers for the option. By this way, it will significantly reduce cabling work for some projects. Okay, we will now go to a demo. We have got a small LED screen that is 4x2 cabinets, and we connect into a X16. Before we do that, please resize the camera window. First, click on here, and then drag this place to resize the camera window. And please tell me when you are ready, because we will go into the demo. With the iSet software, first, detect the sender, and we could change the name if we need to do that. Here, we could change the name if we want, and we could say the firmware version on the X16, and then detect the receiving cards. It is now connected to the port 1, and there are 8 receiving cards inside, because here we got 4x2 LED screen. We could also get the information of the receiving cards, the firmware version, and if we add the temperature sensor into the cabinet, then it can be detecting the temperature of the cabinet, and it will be shown here. And this is the cable status, and this is the working time. Sometimes when we want to check one of the port that is not working so well, we could choose and click here and find the port number very quickly. Here, every cable is working good, so there is none. And now go to the video source settings. Here we could say the input. We connect the HDMI and the device 1 and device 4. Okay, now I will show you the scaling. Just simply drag and resize. And then you will see the picture changed on the LED screen. This is scaling, or we could input the numbers to change the window size. Okay, and now we go to cropping here. First, enable cropping and just simply drag and resize. Very easy to do with the iSet software. And we could also input the numbers to change it. Okay, this is a cropping, and now I will disable it. Now I want to show you about the picture-in-picture function. Let's say I have do some preparation for that, so you can see I have already done the 7 different preset mode here. The first one is to display the HDMI input, and the second one is to display the DVI1. This is from another signal input. And let's go to the 3 windows picture-in-picture here. On the top and on the bottom of the LED screen, I added the DVI1 and DVI4 into the LED screen, and in the middle it is HDMI. This is HDMI and DVI1. This is HDMI and DVI4. And this one is DVI1 and DVI4. So we could set different preset mode for the picture-in-picture functions, and we could easily change it from the iSet software. Also, we could change it from the front panel of the X16 and X4e. That's why it will show numbers on the buttons of the X16 and the X4e. The first thing is to enable the mode function and then change from different presets like the first one to the second one. And on X16 it supports 16 preset modes, and it can change it easily with the button on the front side of X16. Okay, now I will show you another function, the mapping. Here I already done the mapping, and I just delete it. Okay, let's change back to the first preset. And go to the design. We could read back the mapping very easily. Or when we need to do the mapping, just simply click on the port 1 and add cabinets. Change the size accordingly. And then just drag to add the numbers of the cabinets and save. Very easy to do. And about the redundancy, the backup is very easy to do too. Here, set the port 2 as a backup for port 1 and save into the sender. And that will be done. So about the dual controller backup, very easy too. Just to make sure that the main X16 and the backup X16 connected all the cables the same way. Okay, now let's go to the on-screen display function. The OSD on-screen display direction is to make the mapping easier when you need to do the mapping. And here you could see the numbers. The first from the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then just make the mapping the same way here. Or sometimes when we get some cabinets broken, when we need to replace a module and we go to the back side of the cabinets, then we need to figure out which one is broken. It is not easy to remember and judge, so we could use the highlight function here. For example, here we got one IC broken and it lost the color, and we just click on it and you could see it is now blinking. And from the back side of this cabinet, you will see the indicator light is blinking totally different from the normal one. So it can be easily judged which one is broken, and then just take the broken modules and replace it. And that things will be done. Okay. So that's all for the demo, and we will go back to the PowerPoint. Let's make a review to see what features that the X series family got. The video processing integrated with the sending card, the picture-in-picture function on X4e and X16. The LCD front panel with the knob to change the settings easily without a PC, and support the user-friendly software, the iSet. And on X16, it got a very big loading capacity. For each of our X series processor, it supports dual USB control, and we provide the HDCP and the better grayscale. And considering the price, it is very cost-effective. Let's see some of the cases. Number one, the total resolution is 8000 by 1000, and we place the 4 units X16 here, 2 for main and 2 for the backup. And cases 2. This is a Huawei Honor launch conference, and there are 2 units X16, one for main and another for the backup. This is what we call the dual controller redundancy. Okay, now it's time for the Q&A session. You could still send your questions in the chat window, or you could raise your hand in Zoom, and we will help to unmute your microphone so that you could speak to me, and I will answer your questions.